Hello, Gundam fans, and those who are interested in becoming Gundam fans. Welcome to the Gundam Watch, an extension of Geek Devotions, a show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting people know they're loved. The Gundam Watch is our podcast where we examine Mobile Suit Gundam, the franchise as a whole. And we've been going through a series right now with myself, John, and my sister Demara talking about Mobile Suit Gundam Wing and been examining and asking ourselves, is this good? Is that good? You know, and what's happening in this series. And it's been a lot of fun. And we're doing it in 5-episode chunks. And what we decided to do, however, is we're going to take those 5 episodes and we're going to break them down into shorter episodes. So what you guys are about to see today is actually our review of episode 6 of Mobile Suit Gundam Wing called Party Night. And so I want to encourage you guys, strap in, have fun, enjoy the conversation, stick around to the back end because I got some questions for you guys for some stuff to leave in the comments down below. So we just got out of the pods and we watched episodes 6 through 10. And it was a run. It was a good run. I've enjoyed it so far. But we want to give you guys kind of a flyby. We're going to walk through each episode one by one, kind of digest it. Branson's over here. Do you have hives, Branson? What's happening over here?
I just, you were right. It wasn't as bad as Soldiers of Sorrow, but well, we'll wait till we get to the episode and we can talk spoilers before I get into why I'm upset.
All right, well, let's jump into it. Episode 6. It was a great episode. Great night. It was a great time. Great party. Our great name. It was called Party Night. In episode 6, just kind of a quick brief description. In the wake of the assassination of Vice Minister Darlin, Relina is having to come to grips both with what's happened to what has happened and the newfound truth of her true identity as Relina Peacecraft. While coming to the grips with this, she confronts Hiro, letting him know that she is on his side in this war against Oz. Oh, Oz, not being a group to leave loose ends, plans a surprise attack on Relina's school in order to assassinate her before she can reveal the truth about Lady Une. Hiro, thinking that he's the target, jumps into 01 and to fight. Amid the fight, he finds himself drawn to protect Relina. The attack is called off, however, as a personal favor for Zex, suggesting he is a relative Relina of some sort. All right, guys. So, what did we think of Party Night?
I
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead.
I'm going to go first today. Okay. For starters, on what universe does it make sense to attack a school? I mean, you got to be seriously messed up to send a bunch of giant robots to demolish a school. I mean, come on.
But I think that's what highlights the evilness and the deceptiveness of Trey's and Oz. Because the whole plan was to frame it as a colony, a terrorist attack.
Well, and yeah, I know that. But I mean, the first thought watching that episode, in 2023, not in my teenage years, was I didn't think twice about the fact they were attacking a school. And this time I'm like, that's a school. Hello. Yep.
Branson, what were your thoughts on the episode, man?
I had a couple of questions. Relina, she's an interesting character.
She is.
But all of a sudden she's like tough. I mean, she was all boo-hoo, daddy doesn't have time for me. And then she was, I really like Hiro and Hiro doesn't like me back. I'm slightly obsessed with him. And now she's like, I'm the go-to person that tells everyone what to do when explosions are going off around me. It just seems like a little bit of a whiplash.
Well, yes. But at the same time, the story doesn't do a good job of keeping you up to date with time gaps. So the assumption is from the opening scene to this, it's been a couple of weeks for her to start, go through some counseling or something. I don't know. But finding that resolve of, these people came after my dad for a reason. I'm going to live up to what my adopted dad, had tried to instill in me, type of thing.
Yeah.
And that, again, that's part of that. That is legitimately a flaw in this series. If you do not pay attention to the announcer, you miss the fact that you're skipping weeks and months.
Oh, I see. And my second question about that scene specifically, Hiro is leaving the school. He's getting ready to, pack up and ship out. He just happens to be, I think it was a dance that he was there. It was like, it's your last night here. Just enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mobile suits attack led by Lady Yun. And all of a sudden the Gundam shows up and no one's like, Hero is here. The Gundam is here. I wonder who's piloting the Gundam. I mean, it's like the Christopher Reeve Superman where Lois is like, Superman's here and Clark isn't around as usual. I wonder why. I just, whatever, this is supposed to be some kind of super secret infiltrator guy. And it just, I don't know. It seems like 2 and 2 ought to be put together a little bit easier. I sound like I didn't enjoy the episode. I did. Those are just...
I'm waiting for the musical the musical remake of this episode when Raylena shows up and she's like, "I'm holding out for a hero." Jeez, Damara, you started laughing early into that bit.
I just saw where that was going. I think I was on that same line. I could hear the song in my head before you said it.
Right. I think you're looking at my notes, you cheating cheaterton.
Well, you should have put it in Japanese on my screen. I'm just kidding. No, I do want to point out, though, to kind of like a reminder about Raylena is that we kind of step into a piece of her life when she meets like the first guy that seems to turn her head. But she's also a leader in the school. She'd been a leader in the school before she comes back. So for everyone to look up to her, she's kind of stepping back into a role she's already been in for a long time.
Yeah.
So we miss that character development from before the show starts. And we pick up when she decides to act like a girl. Very extreme girly girl. Let me put that out there. Extremely girly girl.
Yeah.
Not just mild, but like...
Which makes
ridiculous.
Later events that we will discuss in future episodes really seem like it caught me off guard, but we can discuss that when we get to that episode.
Can I just say that it's a little bit disturbing that Raylena is the one guy that she's like, yes, I want this, is the guy that keeps pointing guns at her. I mean, what does that say about her as an individual? Like, I think she's broken. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, you may not be wrong about she's probably suffered quite a bit. Again, she just discovered that she's adopted, that her entire family was murdered, and she may have been really young when that happened, but I mean, that stuff leaves a scar even on small children. I mean, there's been studies about kids who have, and the American can confirm or deny this and correct this later, or right now even, but there have been studies about like babies who are suffering from like PTSD and other things from stuff that happened to them and when they were even younger.
So what you're saying is having a gun pointed at her gives her a sense of home. I
mean, when your home's invaded, I guess. I don't know.
Everybody turns and looks at Damara for this. Like, can you enlighten us on the psychology of this?
Well, I mean, I want us to think about it this way: as you go your whole life where everything is pristine and perfect and constantly handed to you, you end up craving something that is adventurous. And in her very messed up brain, she's grown up in a household of complete pacifism. There are no guns, there are no nothing. So her version of rebelling is liking things that are more adventurous, that are farther out there. And he clearly had the passion to do this, even though she didn't comprehend it or understand it in the beginning. She's craving that adventure, something that's outside, because I don't think she fully comprehended the depth of what pacifism actually meant, like her parents were teaching. I think she was just taught, and she just assumed, okay, that's how everything's supposed to be. So I don't understand why everyone else is this way. So she wants to know that side. But unfortunately, she's a teenage girl. And I'm sure, because when I was growing up, the whole bad boy image was supposed to be the greatest thing in the world, and everyone wants to tame the bad boy. And I am more than sure that's where her brain is at in the show.
I don't know. All I know is that I just wish Hiro would shoot her and get it over with.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Tell us what you really think, John.
I just did. I am so sick of hearing her and being like, Hiro! And I'm like, he's not that into you.
Until he like uncontrollably tries to save her.
Yeah. That felt ham.
I love their response to that. Simultaneous response of, ugh.
At that point, I think I just stopped trying to make sense of the show. It was like, let me just enjoy the fact that the Gundam's fighting mobile suits. Forget about why. Let's just enjoy it.
I think part of it, though, is that this was the episode where I was able to determine I just don't like Hiro as a character.
That's fair.
I don't like him as a character, and I'm sorry, Dallas, this is going to hurt your feelings a little bit. I do not like his Transformer Gundam. I do not like his Gundam.
Transformer Gundam.
Why does that hurt my feelings?
Because that's you said that was like your favorite Gundam in this show.
That was my favorite job.
Look, I'm just saying, I think the only thing that hurt him was when you said Transformer Gundam and he thought Transformers. And I think that's the only part of that whole sentence that he was hurt by.
So John, I know that Branson and I look similar and people have accused us of being brothers, but
That's true.
I'm not. That was Branson's pick, not mine.
Oh, really? I thought you
Yes.
said. I thought you said you like 01.
His favorite was Tall Geese.
Oh, gross. Never mind.
Yes. Zero. Although, well, once again, we'll have to get to later episodes. I did change my mind, but we'll get to that in another episode. But,
Well,
speaking
of the pilots,
enough of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the pilots, we also had this little side story of Troa joining up with the circus, and we see this whole little thing where he's basically the pincushion for the knife thrower, and she's like, "This dude just wants to die. Like he just doesn't care." And I appreciate that scene because I really did like you get more of a feel of the mindset of this dude. Like he's just cold. He's just like,
yeah. And I actually like how it threw off what's her name, Catherine, the knife thrower. Like his stoicism actually threw her off and made her miss and cut him.
mm-hmm.
Like she's so used to compensating for people who want to live that the fact that he doesn't at all actually puts him in more danger.
Sir,
which I thought was a neat thing.
With the edgelordiness that he was exuding through that episode, I'm not convinced that he doesn't already cut himself, so he wouldn't be bothered by that at all.
Well,
Yeah.
and we I think we got into this because in the last episode, I can't remember now. It's been a minute since we talked, but his backstory, he has known nothing but war and death literally since he was a child. His family was murdered, and he was basically taken in by mercenaries, and he was a merc starting from the age 5. And so this is all he knows is death.
I mean, I don't like his character either. I'm just saying, like, and it's unfair of me to say that but it's like the dungeon master in me coming out, because it's just like there's people who play characters like this that we refer to in the gaming industry as edgelords, where it's just like, I am incapable of feeling because my family was murdered by a band of orcs, and I have to cut myself to make sure I can feel anything at all. I do not fear death, and I am only looking for my next release when I can watch the life flow from the eyes of another dying victim.
I mean, I'm bored of the speech you're giving me right now.
What?
Okay.
I'm bored of the speech you're giving me right now.
Well, and it's just like that to me. It's just like, oh, this is so cliche. And it's just like, I know that the writing in these shows are supposed to be they're supposed to get a little bit deep. And I'm just waiting for this character to bloom a little bit, because it's just like right now, I don't care about him. It's just like that character can die, and I don't think the show would be missing anything.
Well, what is something about this episode except
for Quatra, who
Catra.
whatever.
Catra.
I read it on my screen and it's spelled Quatre.
It was
Pronounced
Catra.
Catra.
Whatever. Quattro. I'll call him that.
That's from Gundam Zeta.
If it makes you feel better, John, I write the QU in my notes too. So
That's
I
how
would
it's spelled in the.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel completely inadequate right now because I have 0 notes on any of these episodes, and I'm sitting here trying to bite my tongue not to reference a later episode.
You're more familiar with the material. You don't need notes. John and I, this is our first time seeing it, so don't feel bad.
So tell me something you did like, John.
I mean, I'm always down for duo. You know.
Yeah.
DFD, man. That's me all the way. Down for duo.
So what about duo in this episode struck you?
I don't know. I didn't write any notes down for him.
Because it's duo. This is his favorite. That's why. He's a comic relief, but also the realism person in the episodes.
I don't remember him in this episode.
I don't remember him in this episode either, to be perfectly blunt. But
I think he was the one that tried to convince Hiro to actually, like, you know, enjoy the dance and go to the dance for a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually act like a teenager.
Yeah.
That was like episode 9.
Are you sure?
That's in my notes.
Oh no, you're right, because that was when they were in the that's when he went to the other school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crap.
But
okay.
I mean, as far as what's in this one, I enjoyed the action.
Yeah.
Yes.
I enjoyed seeing the double cross and watching the Oz people be like, wait, there's 2 Gundams. You know, and for as much as I've kind of crapped on this episode a bit, or at least Hiro, because he's a terrible character, and so is and so is what's his face, Mr. Mopey. This was the episode that got its hooks in me. I don't know why. Like, this is where the series finally was like, okay, this is interesting all of a sudden.
I'm legitimately curious as to what about it grabbed you, though.
I don't know.
Because
maybe it was seeing Hiro point a gun at Raylena for like the 5th or 6th time.
We're going to test your mental health
phone
later,
calls
sir.
about this episode.
Is that
John guy okay, Dallas?
No,
he
he's
NSA is
thoughts
already
we've
listening to
admitted
this
him to the
conversation.
hospital.
Maybe it's
is working with him.
Maybe it's the inexplicable use of Victorian era dress, despite the fact that this is supposed to be a futuristic show. I don't know. It's just, for some reason on this episode, something clicked, and I was just like, okay, I'm interested now to see what happens.
Right.
I think it might have been just the setup for the bigger plot that happens in later episodes, where I wanted to see what was going to happen. Because I can promise you, it wasn't out of any amount of concern for Troa or Hiro.
Right.
Because I am done with those characters.
I gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha.
So I gotta be honest. I think that this episode, I think what actually got you is because there's a lot of foreshadowing of what could happen. It begins to open doors that could expand the storyline, like identifying Raylena's actual bloodline a little bit more and the connection to someone that is definitely far opposite of what she is.
I don't think that happened in this episode.
Didn't it?
Mm-mm.
At the end?
I have written
where she gets stopped.
Nope, because I have notes when that pulls out. That happens in episode 8.
It's
but
foreshadowed though.
In this episode, Lady Yun's attack is called off, and we found out it was called off by Zex.
But they don't say why.
Right after though, Trey's goes, so it's true. He may actually have a living relative after all.
Oh,
yeah, Trey.
I didn't catch that.
It's like a one-off comment at the very end of the episode.
That's the thing about this show that I enjoy and get frustrated. You have to pay attention to everything people say because it moves so fast. You miss stuff. Like, this is one of the things I appreciate about, because I can't remember if I said this on air or not. I'm reading through Endless Waltz, A Glory of Losers, which is a complete retelling of this entire series, which includes all the side material included into it. And it fills in these weird gaps and time jumps where you're like, things just make sense all of a sudden. With this series, though, you really do have to zone in on what people say because it's so quick. These offhand comments that They changed the narrative so much.
And they aren't even offhanded. It's, you can tell they took time and effort into every word that they used.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be completely locked in to catch every detail. But there's a lot of foreshadowing in this. Even with Troa, she compares him to the eyes of the lion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a caged lion we're looking at. So it's a foreshadowing of, you have no idea what's coming back behind Troa. There's a reason he acts this way.
Yeah.
I'm so sad, and everybody is just out to get me, and oh my
But I don't
God.
think he's sad. That's the thing.
Life has no meaning, and I'm just ready to die, and your knives don't scare me at all, and you can murder me in front of everybody, and it's okay.
Well, that is our episode for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you've encouraged by it, and hopefully maybe it made you laugh a little bit with our banter and our conversation about this episode of Gundam Wing. If you want the full conversation, head over to your favorite podcast catcher and check out the Gundam Watch, where you'll see the entirety of the episode there. Also, the entire episode is here on YouTube, but it's 2 hours long. So if you're in for long podcasts, make sure you guys check that out. Join us next time as we're going to be diving into episode 7 of Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, called Scenario 4 Bloodshed. That being said, I want to know from you guys, what did you guys think of this episode? Did you enjoy it? Did you not like it? Has this made you want to go deeper into Gundam Wing? Or maybe has this caused you to go, you know what? I need to step back. I'm not really sure I'm digging this. Do you agree with John? Is Relina a tired out character? Just needs to be retired? Let us know. I also want to invite you guys, if you want to stay connected with us here at the Gundam Watch, make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for the Gundam Watch. And lastly, obviously, make sure you check out our podcast on all your favorite podcast catchers. Just look for the Gundam Watch. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay devoted. Peace and love.